Jigawa State is located in northwest Nigeria. The state capital is Dutse. Jigawa has an estimated population of about 5.8 million inhabitants. Majority of them live in the rural areas. The state has 27 local governments and blessed with massive wetlands called Fadama, made up of fertile irrigable floodplains, suitable for all year-round agriculture for almost all crops. In spite this, Jigawa is one of the poorest states in the country. As at 2007, 90.9% of the population was described as very poor. According to National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), absolute poverty incidence in Jigawa State as of today is 74.1%, while poverty headcount rate is 87.02%, making the state the third poorest in the country.
We don't have too much economic activity. We don't have too much commercial activity. So maybe for that reason, some statistics indicated that we are among the poor states. Sometimes around 2006, 2007, statistics indicated that we are the poorest. But with the effort being done by government, everybody, every stakeholder, we are now pushed to the number 3.
This unsavory scenario continues to impact negatively on the development of the state, a situation that has prompted the state to take actions and institute social protection programs to reverse the ugly trend of individual and household poverty and bring about improvements in the lives of the state's poorest and most deprived households.
The poverty level is too high according to World Bank ranking. The maternal mortality rate is very high. The child morbidity is very high. Al-Majranji challenge is very high. So from all ramifications, you can find out that the only way that you can cushion out people from such kind of unfortunate trends and development is about social protection.
I think it's necessary for people to be protected, for them to have a decent life, and for even society to grow. And when we talk about even emancipation of our economy and all human capacity and development, that calls for people to be secured.
All over the world, social protection has risen to become a key policy measure on the agenda of the government to bring succor to the poor and vulnerable citizens.
Social protection is a relatively new concept. But if we look back, social protection has existed in Nigeria as far back as Nigeria has existed. MAMSA was social protection. Better Life for Rural Women was social protection. The Green Revolution was social protection. All of these are social protection, but they were all targeted at people across various phases of the life cycle. Absolutely anybody may get to a situation whereby they need the state to play its responsibility to the citizens, what will sociologists or other people will call the social contract that the state has with its citizens.
Social protection is therefore defined as a mix of policies and programs designed for individuals and households throughout the life cycle to prevent and reduce poverty and socioeconomic shocks by promoting and enhancing livelihoods and a life of dignity.
Social protection has been proven to work in several parts of the world where it has been implemented, in South Africa, in Brazil, for example, to help lift people out of poverty. And so it was felt that, it's time for people to begin to get some kind of support, some kind of safety net that allows them to live a life of dignity.
I could remember the governor mentioning that anytime he goes for a meeting, it's so embarrassing that they will mention Jigawa, either the first or the third or the second state that has the poverty rate is high. So it's like trying to see how they can come up with interventions.
In Nigeria, the government has introduced several social protection programs to address poverty and help reduce the high rate of unemployment in the country. These include the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, the National Cash Transfer Program, and the Graduate Empowerment Scheme and Job Creation Project, NPAR, as well as the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program.
The National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office is a key partner. The National Cash Transfer Program is a key partner as well implementing social protection programs. CDGP is basically using the expertise that we acquired over the 7 or so years we implemented the cash transfers in Jigawa and Zamfara to help strengthen the national cash transfer program.
To replicate the efforts of government at the federal level to reduce poverty among the populace, governments at state levels are embracing social protection programs to alleviate the hardship faced by the poor and vulnerable.
The expectation from the downtrodden people is high, and in fact they were the people that brought us to power. So I think the first call for us is to come up with policies and programs that will alleviate their situation.
For long, Jigawa State is implementing various social protection programs attending to these challenges of poverty, hunger, though may not be perfectly done because of lack of any framework like policy.
There are several programs by government if you go to the ministry, department and agencies, but they are not put together. You cannot understand that what Ministry of Health is doing and what Ministry for Local Government is doing. If we are talking of the supply side, if you go to the demand side, that is the Ministry of Women Affairs, you cannot be able to understand what are they doing to enhance the living of Jigawa State citizens.
To this end, Jigawa State is one of the CDGP2 focal states alongside Kaduna, Kano and Zamfara, is piloting social protection programs and policies in the state to ensure citizens of the state have access to basic needs of life as a right.
In a lot of countries, it's enshrined in their constitutions. The right to water, the right to a decent standard of living, the right to food, good quality education. People have a right to a decent life. People can eat, they can attain their full potential. They don't have to bankrupt themselves if they fall ill.
Our people are part of the disadvantaged people in the country in terms of literacy rate, in terms of economic power. So definitely our people are the most in need as far as social protection policy is concerned. So our people will be the greatest beneficiaries. So I think this is our call. We have no option.
The CDGP2 is working to strengthen the demand and supply sides of social protection services. This way, citizens are able to understand and seek social protection services from the government. Similarly, the government is able to understand the demands from the citizens and provide such services to reduce poverty in the state, especially among the poor and vulnerable.
It is recommended in our state development plans, almost since when the state is created, that we should use social protection to attain some of our challenges. Challenges like maternal mortality, the infant mortality, the poverty incidence, the issue of malnutrition.
Since 2013, with funding from the UK's Department for International Development, DFID, Save the Children, along with Action Against Hunger, have been at the forefront of supporting Nigerian federal and state governments to develop evidence on nutrition-sensitive social protection and to establish effective social protection schemes and systems. Initially implemented as pilot maternal and child cash transfer program 2013 to 2019,
Nigeria has some of the poorest health and nutrition indices. Jigawa State had very bad stunting rates, and same with Zamfara. So the CDGP program then was part of the then DFID's approach to supporting the Nigerian government to improve uptake of optimal nutritional behaviors and practices in the state.
That was the initial phase 1 of the project. And mothers were provided with a stipend of about 3,000 naira, and later it was increased to around 4,000 naira every month, while they had the liberty to spend the money as they wanted. We also provided them with education to let them understand the importance of proper nutrition to themselves and their children.
That project targets first 1,000 days as pregnant women, plus a cash transfer of 4,000 naira on a monthly basis. So it's a nutrition-sensitive social protection program looking at the poverty level in Jigawa, and the project started in 3 local governments. And this local government was selected based on the poverty level in those local governments.
We realized that after 6 years of implementing that program, a number of women had started livelihood activities which they didn't have before. And that wasn't part of the initial design of the program. It was something that as time went by and they started saving, they realized that they could use that money to enhance their own livelihood by engaging in productive activities like rearing animals, buying grinding machines, and so on.
Jigawa State Primary Healthcare Agency, there's this intervention they're implementing, Masaki, in Jigawa State. That intervention, the idea or the design of that intervention came from CDGP as well. What they adopted was the food demonstration. This food demonstration is preparing certain recipes for children that's from 6 to 24 months with the locally available food in their community.
And so with the support of FCDO, we moved on to Kano and Kaduna, and we started to engage more collaboratively with the National Social Investment Office that has now transited into the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development.
With support of the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, through CDGP Phase 2, Government of Jigawa State is working to lift a sizable number of poor residents out of poverty by 2030, in line with Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The state has taken deliberate steps to provide support for the poor and vulnerable households to strengthen their resilience to economic shocks and ensure everyone is able to access income that provides security throughout a lifetime.
The state government has been pursuing a number of programs which falls within the realm of social protection program. But with the support of the partners and the advent of the National Social Protection Policy, the state government has adopted its own, and gradually new policies or other new programs and previous programs are being tailored to ensure that they are truly social protection in nature.
Government need to provide that support so that people will not fall into poverty, or could provide a support whereby people can lift people from where they are to another level, like a transformative stage.
The CDGP is working with the state to help increase public awareness on social protection, with great emphasis on inclusiveness, which gives special attention to children, women, elderly, and persons with disability. Through this, CDGP hopes to build a generation able to engage in informed debates and discussions that help build inclusive and accountable social protection.
Even the composition of Social Protection Council in the state, CGTP makes sure that persons with disabilities have a representation in the council. This is a very, very nice initiative whereby it goes with our saying that anything without us is not for us. We need to be carried along to know what is going on, to be part of the policy formulation and up to the execution of the program.
So the past 10 years, Jigawa State is paying the disabled people. They make disabled laws, they are paying them 7,000 naira per month on a monthly basis. And they are giving children under 5 and mothers free drugs, antenatal drugs free. Children under 0 to 5 years, they give them drug free. It all is part of social protection, and this one, even since from the previous administration to this administration, it continues.
Abubuwan da ba zan taɓa manta da su ba, wannan keken kanshi da kuke gani, na yi amfani da kuɗin ne wajen sayen shi, wanda ya taimaka min kwarai da gaske lokacin da nake karatuna na primary, saboda lokacin da nake primary har zuwa JS2 na ƙaramin secondary gaskiya ban da keke. Sai lokacin da Allah ya sa na samu wannan kuɗin, na haɗa na siyo keke, wanda ya taimaka min kwarai da gaske wajen wannan karatun nawa. Na gama wannan junior secondary din, kuma na tafi senior secondary wanda ma boarding na yi, wanda shi keken ya taimaka min na je na yi wannan karatun.
Wannan tallafi da ake bamu yana rufa mana asiri. Muna da mata, muna da yara, muna da 'yan uwa da abokanan arziki. Muna taimaka musu wajen ɓangaren ciyarwa, shayarwa, sutura, abubuwan makaranta. Duk wannan allowance alhamdulillah iya taimaka mana. Saboda haka alhamdulillah mun gode wa Allah, mun gode Annabi Muhammadu.
Jigawa State have designed a cash transfer, and among the domain of that cash transfer, a person with disabilities have been captured vividly, and it calls to the ministries and parastatals have been trained and empowered on how to make sure that they are inclusive in all their activities, that they should be disability sensitive in all what they are formulating.
The CDGP program in Jigawa State is also providing technical support to institutions and systems to enable timely and appropriate response to citizens' needs when in shocks. These includes technical capacity building among civil servants, civil societies, and state actors to ensure increased knowledge and the provision of focused technical support on areas such as reporting and monitoring mechanisms and ways to create fiscal space for increased investment in social protection.
CGDB has been the one that has been pushing for the policy of the social protection. If not for them, it wouldn't have happened. Secondly, they finance everything, all the meetings, all the workshops for the social protection that has been financed by the CGDP.
We have been going on training on communication skills. They have been giving us training on advocacy. They have been giving us training on how we can monitor or track budgets.
There's knowledge development and management. They have built our capacities in different trainings. We have been having engagement with international consultants. We have been having international trips and see and have experience.
The system strengthening we had come from the CGDP program.
If there were no CGGP, I don't think we'll be where we are in terms of the policy of social protection justice. They supported it from day one, and they are consistent.
We are grateful for the CDGP, and we look forward to a future similar programs, even though the government is doing its best to continue with the projects as I started.
So this is when we extended to say, government, you are always here. For us, we come and go, but government institutions must understand what it means to fully implement the social protection programs. So we are building capacities of the MDAs, of the different CSOs, and the state at large.
To this end, Government of Jigawa State, with support from CDGP, introduced Social Protection Policy, which reflects the state government's commitment to inclusive governance that leaves no one behind, regardless of culture, ethnic, religious or partisan affiliations, but provides equal opportunity for residents to live productive and dignifying lives.
After the federal government, Jigawa State is the first state to develop or domesticate the social protection policy.
We are actually not the first state to begin the process, but because of the commitment of the state governor and because of the passion he has in the project, we happen now to be among the leading states.
Even by having the document is a testimony of commitment. Having it approved by the Executive Council is a way forward.
The target or objective purpose is to reduce to the very minimum the poverty, incidence of poverty in the state.
From its conception, the Jigawa Social Protection Policy derived inspiration from the National Social Protection Policy, NSPP, the State Development Framework, and the desire for a governance system and institutional framework that are responsive to the citizens' aspirations. Jigawa Social Protection Policy is a pace-setter, as the state policy was the second to be formulated after the federal policy, a demonstration of the commitment of the state government to reduce the poverty level in the state and provide a system where the poor and vulnerable can find succor.
Social protection is very, very important in different angles, in education, in health, in economic empowerment, women affairs. It touches everywhere.
Social protection differs from the conventional and traditional social welfare services, which emphasize on palliation or palliative measures. This one is a permanent measure that capitalize on human capital development.
A recommendation from the SDGs, especially Goal 1 and 2, is trying to eradicate poverty and hunger, which is the most critical vulnerability if you say you're hungry. So in trying to achieve the SDGs, Jigawa State embraced the concept of social protection.
Jigawa State government has made significant attempts at reducing the socio-economic risks that residents are exposed to across various sectors of the economy. In the education sector, the government of Jigawa State has demonstrated commitment to improving access and quality of education through a number of programs and policies, such as free education in public primary and secondary schools, the school feeding program, free uniforms for pupils, and the free education for persons with disability and their children.
For instance, a girl that starts right from primary school, everything is free for her. When she goes to secondary school, there too, everything is free, right from transportation to and fro.
And you know, when the federal government introduces this feeding primary school pupils from primary 1 to 3, so our state government take off from primary 4, 5 to 6 to balance them so that all the students benefit with the social protection.
So the only way that you can change the quality of life, one is to give them qualitative education. And secondly, people need to access healthcare system, you understand. And above all, 3 square meters is very paramount. You cannot do anything without food.
Largely all that we do here in primary healthcare are related to social protection. Primary healthcare is providing access, basic services, minimum service or package, which includes provision of preventive services, some kind of curative services at minor level. We're also into health promotion, provision of essential drugs and medicines. We're also into campaigns, we're also into health promotion activities.
The Jigawa State women need serious empowerment. I'm happy that we have cash transfers, like the federal government under National Cash Transfer Office, where we have the state cash transfer here, giving them that the stipend of 10,000 bi-monthly.
I could remember the woman saying, even if it's 200 naira, at least it can do something for me in my community. So this is a message we are trying to see, that the government try to come up with interventions that will support their people in their state to have a life of dignity.
There's a lot of evidence that shows that whenever there is cash, women are able to go beyond just access to the cash, but they are able to voice out, to participate, which is women empowerment. And that is the transformative social protection that we want.
You see, this goat breeding, it empowers women. It's something that women like it very much. We even took it to the National Council, honestly, so that the northern states especially can emulate.
When we launched that program, Jigawa became a laughingstock in the country. Unknown to them that we know where we are heading to, we know what we are doing. And I think after the implementation of that program to this day, the success rate is imminent, because it has actually reduced the level of poverty, most especially among our rural women. Here we provide pre-maternal and child health services, what we call pre-MSCH. And under this arrangement, women who are pregnant and children under age of 5 are being provided with medicines free.
But more importantly, it is the awareness of social protection and the importance of social protection by decision makers, by the people.
A lot of people don't know it's their right for governments to provide for them. And civil society organizations are in the best position to raise awareness amongst the vast majority of people as to the need for social protection.
We have a CSO platform in the state, even in Jigawa as well, because the CSOs, they are the ones that speak for the people. They speak for the citizen. They are the only people that can address government's issue trying to see there's accountability and creating that awareness, looking at political will and all.
The social protection policy of the state is inclusive, robust, realistic, and is intended to spur a well-coordinated social protection system with the intention that no citizen falls below the minimum level of social and economic well-being.
The only way that can change people's lives is about social protection.
When you are protected socially, then you'll be more focused, you'll be more productive.
Social protection, as emphasized, should not only just be for poor and vulnerable people, it should cover every stage of the life cycle. At this stage, for today, I might not need social protection because I have a decent job, I have a good education, and all that I want. But then I don't know what the future holds for me, and I might encounter the vicissitude of life in the near future and puts me in a situation whereby I'm unable to afford things I take for granted today. Should that such a situation arise, that's where the state steps in.
When we say social protection, it's targeting all the citizens.
The policy also has in place elements to measure policy performance through scorecard and effective monitoring and evaluation systems aimed at providing evidence on the impact made and dispute resolution mechanism, as well as periodic review of policy process and relevance. The government believes that a progressive society must provide tools and the environment for its citizens to exercise their rights to attain full potentials.
Government has to put 2 billion naira in the budget for sustainability purpose of this child grant program. So you can see how CDGP brought something that the government see the importance of trying to sustain the program.
There is certainly enough funds to ensure that there is continuity of all social protection programs in the state.
Jigawa State is a learning hub for social protection because they are the first state after the national that approved their policy, and the other states are trying to learn. They want to learn how they got to that level.
With an implementation plan in place, it is expected it will guide social protection policy delivery and support the realization of the laudable social protection objectives of the state in a timely, cost-effective, and realistic manner.
Social protection program is progressing, is progressive, and changing the lives of our people. We want it to be sustained.
Once there's a law in place, I think that will ensure sustainability and continuity of all the beautiful programs we have. And I think we'll be able to achieve 100% of our target.